Hey guys, Daddy here, and in this video, it's going to be a remake slash remaster, whatever you want to call it, of my Pokemon videos on how to rip 3DS models from the games. And this section is simply what you need for Blender. I'm going to have everything in the description, so all you gotta do is look there instead of trying to copy my web address there. Now, what I use for everything is Blender 2.92. So what you want to do, if you don't have it, you can go here. But I think anything up to like 3 will work just fine, but I don't know because I haven't tested those. But yeah, you're going to want Blender. Now, if you're strictly just going to convert the models to MMD, you only need Blender MMD tools. And this will also be linked below as well. And next, you're going, if you want to convert said models to a different program like VR chat and stuff, you're going to want Blender, the Cat's Blender Flip program. I know this works for 2.92. 3.0 on up, I don't know because I haven't tested it, but it is one of the best. And if you use cats, then you don't need the Blender MMD tools. And you're also going to need Blender source tools. I will give you the link to this page. What you want to do is go to Release Archives, and if you're using Blender 2.92, just get the latest one right here in the 2.92. Because what's the point of having multiple? Well, I have multiple versions of Blender. Because different plugins for different versions. You know how it is. Now for the models and stuff, I would suggest going here. This will give you a link to the models, the Ohana 3DS Rebirth that you're going to need, as well as, checking out what's currently uploaded. I highly recommend doing that first before you start ripping models. Just save a little time. So yeah, you're going to need Ohana 3DS. But you're also going to want... Okay, sorry about that. I found it. You're going to want PokemonUVMapTools. I'll leave this in the description as well. And when you get the Pokemon models, it'll be here. See, like the Sun, Moon, Auras. You're definitely going to want the one that has like Auras, Sun, Moon, X and Y, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. You're definitely going to want those ones and not like LA or Diamond and Pearl Platinum here, the remakes. You strictly want like the Sun and Moon, like any of the 3DS games. And like I said, I highly recommend looking here. This is pretty much like Generation 1, I think, has all 150, but I don't think the other generations have all the Pokemons, so I would highly suggest checking here before you do anything else. And of course, that's the X and Y. You can clearly see the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. All of these will be linked in the description below. I would suggest avoiding the overworld models unless you want to add those in, but they don't have the shiny versions or anything. So you might as well stick with the models themselves. But yeah, those are what you're gonna need. Now, as you can tell, I have my folder open for Ohana 3DS. I accidentally opened up Blender. I want to need it anyways. What you want to do is open up the Ohana 3DS Rebirth. Go to File, go to Open, and wherever you've saved your models at, you want to go there. So, for instance, Models, Generation 4. Look for the model that you are going for. For me, it happens to be Happini, because that's the next one in line for Generation 4. As you can tell, like, I was working on Espeon before. So what you're going to want to do is make it faster, copy the link to the folder that you're going to want to use. And then paste that in there. You can leave it as a model. I usually did before, but I've gotten into the habit of putting the name and click SMD. I mean, I've always did SMD, but you don't have to. And then click OK. As you can tell, Happy is right there. Okay, now that you have your model, you can go to Textures, Import, find the folder that has the textures in it. Don't worry about the Amy textures. You're not going to need those. Look for the one that you were looking for, or on the model that you're working on. And that's, for me, would be Happiny. You could also make it faster and just search for it. Alright, I found it. You load it in. Notice, I want you to take notice on how this looks fine right here. Just keep that in mind. What you're going to do is export, and you want to input, of course, the file name, your Explorer file's name in here. And then while you're at it, I have a folder called Normal, or the normal Happini textures. And that's where you're going to want to put those. Then click Clear and import the shiny textures. And basically you do the same thing. I went too far this time. I know I did. Oh, that is very noticeable. Compared to the Let's Go Pikachu, or not Let's Go, but Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Now you want to save these in like a different folder. For me, I just have shiny, though they call them rare in the source files. Yeah. And now that you've done that, you don't need those models anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and import SD. By the way, this right here is just because I have both MMD tools and cats installed. You don't need both if you have cats. But if you don't want to use cats, then MMD tools is just fine. Now I'm going to go to source engine here. I hate this. I wish it would stay as the name. So just like just a second ago, you're going to want to import your model to the Blender version that you are using. Oops. I forgot to press R. 90 negative. This just sets it right. Now, I'm also going to leave this in the description below, but what I've been doing simply is importing the height chart that DeviousBunnys had made, and I'm going to use that for my height. She did make an updated version, which you might want to use, but I have the old version and it works just fine. And as you can tell, Happy's huge compared to before. Now what you're going to want to do is make sure textures enable. Just bring that back. What I like to do is I don't like to include the part that moves. So like you can if you want to, but I'm simply gonna go to probably about here, the top of this thing right here that moves, because that seems to be where the top of the actual egg part is of said model. Now click on the model skeleton that of your Pokemon model S, and just slide that down. And you're going to want the height of the Pokemon. I'm going to give a link to Bulbapedia. It's what I use. All you want to do is just look up the Pokemon that you're working on. Simply go down to the height section right here. You see Happy is like 2 feet tall, or 1.6 feet meter, or 0.6. I'm sorry. Apparently numbers are hard for me. So what you want to do is you find it, and then simply size it down until it's about the height that you want it to be. For me, it's like right there. Because you really don't want to be measuring with this, because measuring all the way up to here, because this moves. Then again, this is just like average size. Pokemon can be different sizes. So I suppose you can just do whatever you want and whatever you feel is right. When you get done, you don't need the height chart anymore. So you can just delete it. And now with this, I'm going to show you this ahead of time. Click on Happy. And I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go ahead and like do this because this does have an effect on how your model looks after you've converted it. So what I like to do is just make sure these are white. And and with the saturation, or with the brightness as high as it can go. Now for this, you're going to want to click use nodes straight up, like ahead of time. Now what I like to do is just bring that specular down low, take the sheen tint down low, go to your folder, the one with your textures in it. And this is simply, I'm just showing you. You're going to want to use PokemonUVMapTools, but I just want to show you. But I just wanted to show you just how messed up the textures are. So, after you've converted the model over and everything, open up PokemonUVMapTools. This is what it will look like. Click select the texture. And you're going to want to go to the folder that you have everything in. Click on the body and hit this third option right here. And then save new texture. And then you want to go find where you have your model at. For me, it's just on my desktop. It was easier. And then rename the texture to whatever you want. For me, it's body. And then next you do the eyes. What you want to do is pick this first option, and it fixes it. Then go find that very same folder and rename the texture while you're at it. And then you do the same for the mouth, if it has the mouth. Some models do not. And that's just because they use bones for that. Now you can name these whatever you want, but body, eye, mouth seems to be the general consensus of like what it should be named, to just keep it simple. Now you're also going to want to do this very same thing to the shiny. So I'll be right back. Alright, now that's done. You don't need that anymore. Delete this. And to see what you're doing, because you're definitely going to want to do this. And that is just put that there with the base color, and as you can see, it has fixed itself. Now for this is why I've simply did it in view. Now since this was the eye, just simply, and as you can tell, it's really messed up, but we are going to fix that. Just repeat the process for all three materials. And as you can tell, it's really messed up. It is. Go into edit mode. So just hit tab. Click on eye. Click select. And then go to UV editing. And it's going to be right here. If you want to see what you're doing, just click the materials tab here, the viewport shading. Now what you want to do is hit G, Y, the negative button, or like the dash button, I don't know what you call, and then hit 1, and that will set it to where it needs to be right here. Now you want to go do is hit GX negative 0.75, and that puts it right where it needs to be, as you can see over here. Now you click on mouth and you repeat the process, except it's different. GY neg 2, that's the only part that's different. GX neg 0.75, and now we'll put it back where it needs to go here. I have been doing this so wrong for so many years, and now I finally figured out what I needed to do to fix it. I don't need to do it the way I had been doing it before. Anyways, now I'm gonna go a step and beyond, and that would be to edit the bones ahead of time. Okay, it's on front. I don't like stick, so I'm gonna switch it. Now what you want to do, go into edit mode, and you'll notice every single one of these, it is easier, since it's like up and down. So what you want to do is you just want to take the end piece of like whatever you're working on, and you want to move it. So for me in particular, I start with the outer one most first when I hit 7. And then you just want to move it out. Don't worry, you'll get the other side here in a moment. But what you want to do, just copy and paste where the height is. And that's not the right one. Oops. Make sure you do the smart thing and not the wrong thing. But yeah, I basically just wanted to keep that level. So I think it was fine being up more. So basically, now to connect the parts, because you definitely don't want to just go willy-nilly and click connected. As you can see, it moves it. So what I do is I hit Shift S after clicking the head and hit this bottom one. Then I grab the tail of the other bone, like for instance the elbow here, is Shift S, and I just click selected, which is the top one, so that when you go to connect it, it doesn't move. And basically you just repeat this process for the things you want connected, like for instance the arms and stuff. Now for the body, you definitely want to see which one's which. So like this is the hips. If you do that, this is basically like what I do. I just bring this down to about where I want it to be. And then when I get done, because that's huge, I just hide it, which is you just press H. It keeps it out of the way. And for the waist, I basically started doing the same thing with the waist, except I take it back just a little bit. It's basically just so you can see it. Sometimes you gotta move it the opposite direction of where you want it to go, just so you can actually move it. Then I usually hide the waist as well. The best part about this is, if you have the 3DS model, you can just use that very same model for Let's Go, if it's Generation 1 Pokemon. You could also use it for Sword and Shield, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and the SV models are different. So I'm just going to take my head all the way up here. Oh, you see, it's rigged, I promise you. I'll just leave this alone. If anyone knows how to fix that, just let me know. I'm just gonna clear my posing. Go back and go back to edit mode. Because I just wanted to show that off. But I'm just going to speed this up now. Back, I did half of it, and you see me do it earlier, but I did it with the foot. What you're going to want to do is basically copy and paste what you have from one side to the other. And of course, keep in mind that on the X value for the bones, if it's positive, you want to put the negative on the other side and vice versa. And that's basically how you want to mirror your bones if you want to do that. I highly recommend you do so. Like, for instance, here, this has no negative to it. it's just 15. When you go to collect, click the other one, you want to hit the minus button, then Control V, and all you gotta do is click off of it, and it'll have it to where you want it to go, but in a mirrored fashion. And then you don't really need to do anything else for the other one, for the other values. You just copy and paste them. And you basically do the very same steps you did to one side. So I will be right back as soon as I finish this. Now when you get done, just make sure you unhide all of them. Now what I like to do in my editing process, I don't know if you've seen it earlier, but what I like to do is you don't need this, or this one. Just, they are unnecessary bones you don't need. At least for MMD purposes, you don't need it. And as you can tell, you could rename the bones here, but I'm not going to. So what I like to do is, now I've done that, and simply when I get done, what you're going to want to do is within, hit the MMD tab. You want to convert your model over to Dance or MMD. But you don't need to do this. This is just what I'm doing. I'm going to hit the export. I'm going to export as a DAV file. Find the folder it's in, and then you can rename it however you want if you decide you want to do this. I usually don't copy the texture files, but I like to do that. And because I don't need a SMD file anymore, I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. I'm gonna remove these two while I'm at it because I'm in this folder already. That's a default file can go. Now what you want to make sure to do is, if it's not, enable both .dae files and .fbx files, because when you install the add-ons, you're going to want to enable those too. Now in the MMD tab, convert. And of course, these have a habit of moving things, and I don't know why it's like that. But just make sure this one, the overarching one, is selected after you've converted. And then you hit export. And then go find the folder that you want it in. You can leave it as untitled. I used to do that, and I still do sometimes. But just name it the Pokemon that you are currently working on. Unclick copy textures, because you already have the textures in there, you don't need more. And then export to PMX. Now this is basically just something I want to show you. After exporting that .dae file, and it's only a problem with that one, but yeah, everything works fine now. So I'm not sure what happened there before, but I guess it fixes it itself. But yeah. and because of how you did how it is, you'll see it still has the textures. There is one thing I did forget, but I can obviously, you know, move those and we can make it in the PMX editor. So you don't need that anymore. Now, you're on your own for when it comes to getting your PMX editor, because I'm using a very, and I mean very, outdated PMX editor. It's just simply, it's what works with me. I'm obviously too lazy. And this one works fine for what I need it to do. You still get your models and still work fine. So basically that was all the conversion and stuff. Now this next part is basically going to be doing the model itself in MMD. Or for MMD. Well, don't worry, I will be enlarging the textures very, very soon. But basically what you want to do is I'm going to start working on the visuals, which means the texture enlarger will be just fine. So what I like to do is hit this because you don't really need it double faced. I usually have my outlines on and it usually is like 1.5, but if you just for some time hit this and then hit OK, it fixes it so that it's at full capacity. Now this fixed the different color ones, but what I like to do is I also change this into that, and you could take that 0.5, but I like to do this one just to make sure, and it's basically 0.5. I don't usually mess with this, but you can if you so wish. I don't know what this does. I don't even know why I clicked it. Now what I like to do when it comes to my models and stuff is I go to the UV plugin. Yeah, I simply look for the things that I want, and I want to make sure I can, for the most part, just grab and go. You don't have to do this, especially if you're using something like Raycast or Ray MMD, as I call it. And basically, I like to do this for my own like personal reasons. That's the white. Alright, now I have my materials separated. Again, you don't have to do this. If you do separate something and you change your mind about separating them, you can just select the two that you want here, and then select or you can select Control J, and that combines them again. Now, after you get done, you can simply find your part, or like find out like what's what, and go and just rename it. Body top, and this is technically body bottle with, I guess, a hair tie. Of course, you can name these whatever you wish. This is just what I'm naming my parts. And I think this is, in terms of lore, supposed to be a stone, because Happiny is a baby Pokemon. It's related to, I think, Chansey and Blissey. And you know how those two Pokemon are. So it wants to be just like them, so instead of an actual egg, it takes a, it just takes the stone. So I'm going to name it accordingly. And I'm just going to put Sweet Stone. And to make this neater, I'm just going to name this Eyes. I'm going to name this Mouth. Now I'm going to need to get the stuffs. Now for the Non.Spa and the tune, you can just take from whatever model I have up for download, because it's basically the same of what I'm using. Just take, copy and paste at least one of the tunes, because you're going to be editing said tunes. And as you can see, I have all my tunes. And .spa you want to put here in the bottom one. You want to select everything, and then hit to where you go down to where you have the plus, because .spa SPH is for the X and spa is for the plus. And then for your tune, you want to just click on one of them and then hit the 0, or type the whole thing out. And as you can see, albeit not as colorful, but she is shaded. Now for the tunes and stuff, you simply just want to open up GIMP or whatever other program that you have. I use GIMP because it's faster to open, and it's easier for me to open. I don't need that open anymore. I really shouldn't have so many tabs open, because God knows it's a fucking memory hogger. Now what you want to do is you click your tune, you click your body, just open both of them up, just so you can color pick, like, one of them. So what I like to do is I like to zoom in, and I like to click the partially darker section. And then I like to zoom in on here as well. Make sure I have my gradient tool. I go as far down to the bottom of the picture. If you don't go down far enough, or if you go down too far, it doesn't matter as long as it's close enough to that line. And then you just click and drag and go straight up. This is how I do my tunes. And then you rinse and repeat for the other colors. If we have to. Just move it a little bit after you color pick the actual color. And then just make sure you save it under like a different name. Like Tune 1 I just did, Tune 2 I just did. And you want the white. For this one, you want the gray. Or, well, white. That way it's not like a flat white. You have a little bit of shading there. And for me, I'm lucky. This only had like 3 different tunes to work with, but sometimes you get like 4 and 5 different ones. And with that, you don't need that anymore at the moment. And for you get Tune 1. Bottom is Tune 2. It's Smooth Stone. Tune 3. Now, I prefer it to be that way than there being like a stark line, because it just doesn't go far enough. So I'm like okay with that. And if you're using, again, MMD, then you don't really need to worry about that. In fact, you don't even have to do the whole different tunes thing. You can obviously choose like Tune 2 here if you so choose. I just like having my stuff like this. It's what I've always done. Now, because of how I like to do things, I'm going to be working on the expressions. So what I like to do, I do this several times. I don't know why. Is I update and then save the model. I want to make sure my grid stays the same. Now I'm making a copy here, just so I don't accidentally save over it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this, reverse it, that way all I have are the eyes right here. And now I'm going to take and separate the eyes, half and half. I like to make sure. And I just hit the S there. Now this is how I've done it. This one I want 0, because this is all going to be invisible soon. Notice I'm not doing anything else. I'm just going to index these. Go over to my expression section. Click the top one and then click M. Index, which is the paste. You want to hit this, you want to make sure 0, and then hit 1, in one in those two sections, and then click OK. Repeat for the other eye. You notice I'm not doing anything like I did before. I do want to put L and R here. And then save the file. I'd actually like to save them several times. But I'm going to hit and delete those. Save it again. Open up your original model. And then just count how many of expressions are here, except for the very top one. So there are 6 here. So you just want to count them. You want to hit the second one here, nothing else, and then just click OK. You can do this before or after you rename your bones, as long as the names are indeed the same. I think I have all 6 here. If not, I can count. I need one more. Now, what I like to do afterwards is, this is kind of something I just started doing, and that's after the L and the R, just put whatever expression is there. I have these in a specific order of how I do things, simply because that's just how I like the order to be in. Alright, now that I've gotten that done and over with, basically, if you so choose to, the blink and the happy, you can choose to say the same, but you can combine the doubt, the sadness, the clues, and the anger materials back together. Unless, of course, you want to keep those separate so you can have the different facial expressions, or morphs as they are called for MMD. Because that's usually how I did before, but obviously I'm a little lazy. But what I will do here usually is I usually count the 3 out. That's the blink and the smile, then find doubt, and then the 2 below it, delete those, and sadness, and delete the 2 under sadness. You're gonna have to do this either way. Unless, of course, you want to keep those expressions. You save for close. Oops. I gotta make sure you just make sure you have the right one selected. And there's the anchor, and then those. Either way, you're going to probably have about 10 when you do the way that I've been doing them. Now I'm just going to leave this alone for right now, because those will be when I rename everything. Now I'm going to have those 2 selected. Now to do the textures that I've done before, my new method, which keeps the folder clean, is you go, not that one. Kitty came in. They are so cute. Finding the one that I need. Not that one. Well, actually, I needed this one. You want to click on UV, click this top option here, and click the very, and I mean very top option for that. Select well, like select the entire selection of model. And then you want to, for the anger, it's literally this top one here, cut 0.5. And I will have a link to like an image on where everything you want on the settings you want to use. As you see, this very angy. And then when you get done, you just want to go to the alpha and then just hit 0. And you rinse and repeat for the other expressions, making sure after you got done selecting the new section, you move the viewport and then reselect, just to make sure it updates. Trust me, I've done it before. I've done that, and it's moved the previous one I had selected. So yeah. And now to move it just straight down, you just want the bottom one here and put the top one back at 0. That way it moves just that. And then you just rinse and repeat, and I'll be right back. Alright, now that I've done that, now if you're so worried about how I did things, I'm just going to show you right here. If you are unsure if you got anything right or wrong, you can just open up your transform view and just mess with the expressions to check to see how they are. As you can see, everything's a-okay. Now we are going to do the mouth as well. So I do my usual updates for both windows and then save. And I don't need this one anymore. And then I'm just going to recopy it. Load in the copy. Now, instead of the eyes that we did, we are just simply going to repeat with what we did with the eyes, but with the mouth. And when you delete it, it goes ahead and deletes the other files as well. I'm going to do what I did there. Index. A new material. For this one, you don't really need to do anything else extra. Just repeat the same process as you did before. And if you so wish to keep it separate, his mouth is pink. Just keep that in mind. And then save. Now, just like the expressions for the eyes, you want to do the same for the mouth. And for the most part, it's usually one less. So instead of 6, you load in 5. So if at some point do you think you've overdid it, you can obviously delete it. If you didn't do enough, you can add one more. Now just rename it however you wish to make sure you know what you're doing. Alright. Now I'm just going to speed this up, and I will, of course, also have a link to a picture with the settings that you want to use there as well. So I'll be right back again. Alright, back. Now I have all of that settled. This next part is going to be the bounds. And let's just see, depending on the model, there's really not a lot. So no matter what I do, I will always open up another PMX editor. And then I'll move the one I'm copying from over to the side. Now this is something recent that I've done. I'm just going to copy this over. Rename this to Peony IK. Of course, you do this for whatever model you want it to be in. I have it set to how I like things to be for like my IK bones and stuff. So like that's why I have 4-leg IK bones here, and IK bones is something for me to copy from to my other models later. They have no physics or joints. But what you want to do afterwards is you want to find any kind of model that has renamed itself. So for instance, I often go to, like for instance, recently I've been doing Christmas. It's the last one from my avatar that I was working on. Then, as you can tell, I haven't done anything there either. With changing the name and everything and updating stuff. Now what you want to do for the names is just copy the one you want to copy. Move on to the next one. Click the one you want to rename. And then paste it in. And then basically you just repeat the process. So I will be right back as soon as I am done. Alright, so as you could tell during that speed up process, I didn't mess up with the arms, which meant I undid quite a bit, just so I can make sure I got them named right. But what you want to do after you get done is you want to click E, B, and then merge here, just to check and make sure you have your left and your rights not the same, or well, any bone with the same name, unless you specifically want it to be that way, but just to make sure you don't mess up and make sure everything's separate, because I've done that before and it's annoying to fix. There's a box of kittens sitting directly next to me. Mommy hasn't moved them since she had them in that box. Now, for things like the feelers and stuff, what you want to do is you want to see which one it is, and then if you need to, go to a different model or go to Google Translate, or any translator for that matter, just to get the names of stuff. But for instance, what I'm going to do here is just copy this character here on this model, because that's like the hair, and translate the hair, and then just take and what you want to do is you grab all the pieces that you want to be renamed, and then just rename them. And then name them accordingly. So for instance, a 1, 2, 3 for those, and for this one, it's the middle one here. So I'm just going to leave that. And then for this one, you want left and your right. So since you've already renamed the other bones, you can just copy from those. You need to go to a different model for that. And then just paste those in front of the name for the hair. If you want to, you could also just hit Control V instead of trying to get in between there and then clicking paste. And for feelers, for the rest of them, if you are unsure which one does what, just copy, or just go to mode and click wait, and it will show you what it is. And since I myself don't have since I don't have the thing for it, like the name for it, what I like to do is going to, you know, Google Translate and whatnot. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I want to need that open. But just go to Google Translate or your preferred translator and just type out what you want, and then click on it and then click copy. You do this as many times as you need. So that's the egg. This is the pouch. Now, if you so choose, because certain things you kind of want also to be able to be moved instead of, you know, rotated, just hit this button right here. It'll make sure that you can actually move said bone. I know I put egg there, but I think stone would be better. Which is funny, So I'm gonna do this. Smooth stone. There's the pouch and the smooth stone. As you can tell, everything's now named. Now what I want to do is go to my section here while I'm at it. Since I forgot to do this earlier, blue is what you want for the eyes. And then you just, this is why I left it alone, because I just like to rename everything all at once. So I'll meet you back here after I've renamed everything. Alright, now I have that done, and my computer's still doing the same damn thing it was doing before. It's the new update. It's been doing this, and I have no fucking idea why. I hear you. I hear ya. Yeah. Yeah, she's very vocal. She's cute, but she's very vocal. Now that I'm done with that, what I want to do is, of course, now, you could have done this a lot sooner if you so chose. But, I didn't. And that was, I'm just gonna need this. I usually like to have my things as neat as I possibly can. It goes, between, like, whichever one I'm working on. Is for this, it either goes from facials to breast. Because, you know, sometimes I use, MMD, the model's resource. Whoops. Yes, I know, computer. I'm glad it undoes that. I simply just wanted to undo that. And then you want to rename these. You just make sure they're good. Now, I almost forgot to do this, so after I save this, save progress and everything, And this is basically what I've been doing. It's literally the easiest. Just select all of this, index these bows, go all the way over here, Control P, or like put a new, and I basically just been doing like upper body, and I'm just gonna have upper body and lower body. Usually I would have more for these, but with so little bones, I'm not going to bother. So for the upper body, I'm just simply going to delete all of these. And then when you go to put it in the other one, it just simply does whatever isn't indexed to one of the others. Like for instance, root has the center. This, I think, if you do it right, I just want to grab these and you can index them. I've learned this out like recently that you can do this. And there you go. All of them are right there. Then we have the upper body and the lower body. Now, different PMX editors does different things. This is what my rename, transfer the names over from JP to English. And I just simply just do that. And that way the other section just isn't blank. Now, for instance, I want to show this. For the bones, when you rename them, you notice how some of them are in Japanese, but others are, like for instance, these two is in English and this last one here is in Japanese. I've been slowly working on updating the notepad file for it. Which is why, like, it's mixed with mine. Now, I totally forgot to also do this, and that's... Next, we're doing physics. And, of course, the joints as well. And again, I still want to update my stuff just to make sure my rig stays the same. I have trust issues, okay? Now, for working on the getting physics and stuff, like the static and dynamic physics. First you want to work on the static. So once you have your bone or bones selected, you go to E in the PMD view, go down to B, and in this section you go all the way down to this top one right here, P, or B, and this will give you your static bone physic, as you can see. And for getting the actual, like, dynamic ones, what you want to do is you want to basically do the same, B, and then you want to do X, which is all the way down here, and this gives you both. And as you can see, and now you just want to resize everything, so I'll be right back. Alright, now I'm done with the resizing. What I like to do usually is for the bones that are closest, I usually also like to click on this one too. It stops it from colliding with this color bone in particular. But when I get done, you could use whichever one, but I usually go between 4, 5, and 6. And make sure 4 is selected if you chose 4. For like the grouping. And then I usually put 0.1, and then like 4 or 5 9s. And these 2 sections here. And then this one I usually leave as 0. Because I think that's a friction, if I remember correctly. And it's been a while. And then for all of these, for when it comes to these small things, I've been doing 3 for like this one and these ones here. I bet I'm just double clicking to make sure I highlight them. And then for the center one, I just don't like them rotating the way that it does. Because looking at it front on, it, like, for instance, if you have this blue one here, it also adds movement that way. And then when you get done with that, what you want to do is, for instance, this one right here, you want to connect these together, so just click on head, and then click on the name of the physic right here. So for instance, this is hair 1. And then do the same for any of the other ones. Of course, it depends on like what your thing is, or like where it's connected to. So for instance, I was working on the hair, of course it's going to be the hair. And then just make sure these bows are connected, or these joints are connected to the right 2. And yeah, I want to repeat the process for the lower half. Alright, back. Now that I have my physics and stuff in place. Alright, let's try that again. Now that I have everything done for the physics and the joints, I'm once again going to update here, and of course, let's not forget these last two here. Come on. Let's make sure everything is translated. And then just save your model once you've done that. Now obviously I don't need that anymore. What I like to do is you click the IK, replace it here, and as you can tell, I'd been using this for something else, since I don't need that bone or this one. Need to fix these. That way they're just connected to the right one. With that, all you need to do is open up your second one, load up your model to the second one, because simply you're not going to use it, you're just simply getting the locations of said bones. So what you want to do when you do this, if you do it my way, you can obviously do it a different way, but just copy, select the ones you want, then paste where you want it to, the numbers to go. So for instance, and then for bone to end locations, or the tail, copy and paste that too, if need be. That way, so you can see over here, it's way down here now. You just repeat that process, so I'll be right back. Alright, that didn't take too long. As you can clearly tell, everything is, you know, in the same spot. Same thing with blenders. After you're done, just make sure you're adding that minus or the dash across, and then just load in your model. Just make sure, like we did with the expressions, you just hit the second one and then just click OK. And obviously these are here, and don't forget anything connected to legs or arms that have an IK, or well, anything that has an IK, just fix it. That way it moves with the respective bones. And now that I have that selected, what you want to do, if you do it my way, which you can obviously just copy one of my other my Pokemon models, then just take and move those forward, move them down a little bit, I hear you, kitty kitty. I hear ya. I hear ya. You're so cute. Meows. Batsy has always been very vocal. No, no, down. I'll give you some room up here. She is so cute though. You know, for the tail end, since this one that I use for my two, I left them blank for the most part. I need to add the tails so it's not just 0. And usually I always do 1 or like 0.5. But yeah. Anyways, there's that. And the model is indeed done. I do a little bit of updating here, updating here. Now this is like purely optional, and that's if you so wish. I do this. It does make it make the file a little bit more, I suppose, unorganized. And that is just, I like getting rid of the bugs, because sometimes you just want the model in there and you don't want the physics being on, but you want it to be on for other models. I like giving options. I just make a version of it without the physics and stuff. But what you want to do before you do what I do, and that is just take your bones. I forgot to do this. The center bones and everything. Just move those down or up, depending on where you want your model to be. Just so they're not in that same area and you're still able to move them. And of course, do that for the other model too. Of course, mine's not going to be in the same spot anymore. But obviously I can just redo that process. Save. And delete these. Turn those into physics. Okay, now the model portion of this is done. Now to enlarge your textures, you're going to want to go to waifu2x.net. They changed the domain from what it was before. So what you want to do is just click on Browse, go find your folder, click on the texture you want to enlarge, Make sure it's artwork. I have the highest and ×2 with PNG, and then just hit convert. Then you save said picture. Just overwrite the old one. Then you can close that out. You don't need to update it at all. What you want to do is you want to do it twice. Gets the picture nice and clear. And then when you get done with the body, you do the same for the eyes. And then whenever one of these pop up, you just do the captcha. Sometimes it's a little harder to do than others, than like other times. But in general, it's the same. I'll be right back after having marked all these. Alright, now that you've enlarged all of your textures, you don't need that anymore. Now, for purposes of my own, I do like to add these in. There is like one particular problem is sometimes thing will come out like this. If you really want to see like what it looks like without it, you go back to where you have Ohana 3DS. So that's precisely what I'm going to do. I need to find it. I have my stuff sectioned off. And you want to click Ohana Rebirth No Alpha. And it's literally just Ohana 3DS, but you want to basically open up your text file. So, wherever you have your model at. And you just search for the name. Like I am in the texture section. Because you don't need the model open, just see. You just need to find your model. Bonsai, Mime Jr., Happiny. And you just click on the section. And you see here, that's what it's supposed to look like. So I'm just going to export these. And you can tell I had to do the same for Flareon. I don't know why it does that, but it's just, it does. And I'm just going to export those. Of course, it's going to give me some of those files back. But that's alright. I can just delete them again. Because I deleted that, fix it. Now, I usually end up, of course, making a, if you decide to do what I'm doing, this is just extra added stuff right now, is move all of these to a different folder, like norm. This is strictly for if you're using it in like other programs, or you want to add the normal maps to your model for Raycast, which I don't, but you can if you want to. I also like naming these as well. See, like I underscore norm, body underscore norm. I don't know why I put the S there. And the same thing for right here. I'm gonna go ahead and fix this. You don't need to rename them. I do. Just like the textures themselves. Now for fixing the norms, because obviously this just isn't going to work, what you want to do is open up your image program. GIMP's the easiest for me, even though yes, I do have Clip Studio Paint. You go to canvas size, you click on the end, and you hit the pound, or you hit shift and the 8 key, and you put 2 in that one, and then you hit the shift 8 key, and you put 4 at the end of that one. Then you just resize it. Then you make a copy. And you just move it over to the edge. And then what I like to do is I just merge this down, duplicate it, grab, and then just move it down. And then I merge them together again and duplicate it. And then I just repeat the process. And it's so fast. And then you want to save it. Because of the method we did, we should only need we need to do this if you want to have the normal maps. But what you want to do is you just want to repeat this for the mouth. So I'll be right back. Alright, now that's done. You don't need that open anymore. Basically everything I just did with the tunes and stuff, you want to do the same for the shiny. So what I like to do is I just copy these files, except for like the textures. Go to my shiny folder that have everything else in. Just delete all of this. I'll do what I just did. And then paste those in there. And then grab this, and grab your body. And then grab the color that you were using. And then zoom in on the tune. And do the same. Alright, and now that you've gotten that done and over with, you can open up the MMD or whatever you have. And basically, you can test your model out. Or make cute pictures and whatnot. As you can tell. And of course, because I grabbed the IK, you can tell everything looks good to go. And then while you're at it, you could obviously do that. And I forgot to rename some things, which is an easy fix. And of course, you can obviously do that later. Or you can do that if you didn't do it like I did. But basically, yeah, that's how I work on my models. That's how you do everything. And the 3DS models, depending, can take you upwards from 2.5 to about 3, maybe 4 hours. So it's not too bad compared to later models like Scarlet and Violet. I'm speaking from experience because of how I feel like I want to do things. But yeah, I hope this video was informative, as random as it has been, and I will see you all next time.